You won't believe what happened when I stopped drinking alcohol for 52 days. My mind got sharper, I lost 15 pounds, and I took control back over my life. Recently, I stopped drinking alcohol. 52 days ago exactly. It was the last time I had alcohol was on my son's 21st birthday. I've always had we'll call it a complicated relationship with alcohol. I started drinking alcohol, I was probably 15, 16. Well, I know I was 16 years old the first time I actually got served a beer in a bar, which is kind of hard to believe, but yeah, it's true. And ever since then, I would say alcohol has been a part of my life. It's been part of my family right along as well. There's several alcoholics within my family, so alcohol's been around my whole life. So it's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. So just recently, I kind of came to the point where I was like, you know what? I've had enough. I'm gonna give it a break. I'm gonna stop drinking. I started off just saying, you know what? I'll give it 30 days. 30 days is the goal. Kind of sober October was my goal. And after 30 days, you know, I realized this is actually pretty good. I don't really miss it. I think a lot of the motivation was when I went to the race here recently. I'll put a link to the video where I went to Eldora Speedway for a dirt track race. And I said, you know what? One of my good buddies, Mike, came up there and Mike said,
"Hey, I cleaned out my garage fridge to bring some beers, but I haven't been drinking for weeks."
I was like, "Oh, really? Why's that?" He said,
"Well, just after about 6 weeks, my mind just started feeling sharper, started feeling a lot better, about like just snappier."
I think is the way he described it. I said, "Oh, okay, interesting. Maybe I need something like that." Didn't think too much of it that weekend, but then when I got home, I said, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot myself. So I set a small goal for myself and I said, all right, I'm gonna go 30 days. I think I can do that. I recently did a video on how I quit coffee. So I thought it's like, you know what? If I can go, a year and a half without drinking coffee, I'm pretty sure I can probably stop drinking alcohol too. My relationship with alcohol has been, I would drink at least once every week. Kind of that, hey, come home from work in the evening, have a couple beers or a couple drinks, mixed drinks, couple turns into 3, 4, right? That sort of thing. You know, Friday night, Saturday night, almost all the time there was alcohol involved. Like one of the reasons I would drink alcohol is because it would help me to relax. And I think that there is some truth to that, but it's a question of, okay, but at what cost, right? At what cost do you want to relax? Not just the financial cost, but the other costs as well, whether it's your health or your relationships, your own emotional well-being, right? There's a serious toll that's paid, I think, when you drink alcohol regularly. Whether you want to admit it or not, I think it's a real thing. So the first week after I stopped drinking alcohol, it was kind of rough. One of the first benefits that I experienced though was better sleep, and I'll tell you, it's been steadily even improving in the 52 days since I last had alcohol. I would often find myself getting up in the middle of the night, or just waking up in the morning and just like not feeling rested, and just it's no good when you wake up in the morning and you're already exhausted before you even start to face the day. So I think for me that was a tremendous benefit that I experienced personally, was the restedness that I would feel when I woke up in the morning. And I attributed a lot to that, I think, to not drinking alcohol. I mean, a lot of it, I think, is, getting up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, because maybe I was up late drinking or whatever, right? So that goes away. And just general, better quality sleep, more REM sleep, I think is a lot of it too. I honestly think I require even less sleep. Normally I'm give me 7 hours and I'm good to go. And I think in this case, I can go even under 7 and still wake up feeling rested. So that's been amazing. The second thing I've noticed since I quit drinking alcohol is I'm much more committed to exercise. I said, you know what? I really need to get into better shape. My job is an engineer. I've been an engineer for 26 years, and it's a sedentary job. So, you know, I'll basically sit on the computer for 10 hours a day. So I have to be really intentional about going and exercising. So I've done a lot more exercise, I would say, since I stopped drinking. Like for me anyways, it's whether it's in the morning or in the evening, I feel much more motivated to exercise. Just generally taking better care of myself, I would say, since I've stopped drinking. Right now, a lot of it is cardio work, so kind of getting on the treadmill, things like that. And I've been really enjoying that, and I feel like I can be much more committed to it than what I used to. The next benefit is my mind is sharper. So as my buddy Mike mentioned, and Mike, I hope you're watching this because I want to give you a shout out, but you know, maybe after the first couple weeks, started feeling some incremental improvements. And now that I'm like 6 weeks past when I last had a drink, I think it's even further enhanced my ability to think on my feet. I feel like thoughts come quicker to my head. I'm able to articulate things better. So that would be some encouragement that I'd have for you. If you feel like, you know, I'm just feeling sluggish with how I'm able to articulate my thoughts and how the thoughts come to mind, try giving up alcohol for a while and see if that benefits you. I found it improving my performance at work. I think even like with this YouTube channel, I feel like I'm more comfortable than ever speaking on the camera. And I think a lot of that is because I've set alcohol aside. The fourth thing I've noticed is I feel more motivated. And this one's a little bit hard to describe, but I would say, just generally speaking, like if you're drinking alcohol regularly, like it kind of numbs you a little bit. And at least for me, that's been the case. For me, I would say just general motivation on my self-improvement journey. I've noticed a marked improvement there. I feel like alcohol slows that down a little bit, right? I think alcohol definitely slows you down a bit, right? As it impairs your ability to do different things. But I also think it slows your motivation. And at least that's been the case for me. I feel much more motivated to exercise, to read, right? So that's one thing I love to do is I love to read. I read every night just to wind down before I go to bed. And oftentimes if I have alcohol before I go to bed, I don't want to read. I don't know if it's because I'm thinking like, hey, I'm not gonna retain it or what exactly makes me feel that way, but I do feel like my reading slows down. I'd say probably my comprehension slows down too, so that's probably part of it, is like, why am I going to waste my time reading if I'm probably not even going to remember what I just read? Like, why bother, right? And the fifth, and probably the most important thing that I've noticed since I stopped drinking alcohol is how my relationships have improved. I've faced a couple of challenging situations. Like one of the things is like with my work, I'll say it's a tradition at my work, is we get together. We have, when I'm traveling, we get together, we have dinner, we have drinks, and that's just part of how things go. I had a recent work trip and was able to go to the work dinner. There was, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 of us, and I just had water. And I was really nervous leading up to that trip because I was like, okay, you know, I'm doing pretty well here. I think at that point I was about 30 days into my goal, but I kind of wanted to go a little bit further, and it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, you know, I've said on this channel before, I actually just told my daughter today, people are thinking about you way less than you think they are, and I totally believe that was the case. It actually, I reminded myself of that on that work dinner, that work trip. I don't need to involve alcohol on my business trips, right? I can go out, I can have water or whatever. And I'm still social. Right. If anything, my mind is clear. So that has been a big hurdle that I've overcome. Recently was out at it was a celebration of life for my ex-stepdad. And it happened to be at an American Legion club where there was a bar, and a lot of my siblings and cousins and things were there, and everybody was drinking. And honestly, I didn't really feel that tempted to even go to the bar and order anything. I just drank my bottled water and visited, and everything was just fine. So that's been just, I guess, another incremental step to help me feel more comfortable and confident in those situations, that as those situations arise, if I don't feel like drinking it, I don't need to. So that's been a good learning experience. Wow, just heard a gunshot. I just saw some hunters go into the woods down here, so I wonder, sounds like somebody maybe got one already. That's impressive. I want to be the person that my family relies on. I want to be dependable. I want to be stable. And I think that's some of the benefits that I've seen since I've set alcohol aside is, oh, another gunshot, look out. Another benefit there is, like, I'm there, I'm available. I'm never gonna, like, if I'm not drinking, I'm not gonna be in a situation where it's like, oh, no, I can't go run that errand, or I can't go pick up the kids or whatever because I've been drinking. Like, that doesn't even factor anymore. In fact, if anything, it kind of opens up additional opportunities where it's like, whatever, 8 or 9 at night, where normally maybe by then I've had a few drinks or whatever. I would just be like, yeah, let's go do that thing. And it's great to have that additional freedom. If you have 2 arms, why would you want to, like, tie your hands behind your back to go through life? And I feel like oftentimes that's kind of how I look at alcohol. Like, it slows you down that way, and it just inhibits your ability to function in a lot of ways. So that's kind of how I've been looking at it. But then also a relationship with my kids. I feel like I'm more patient, I would say, if I'm not drinking. Like, if things don't go according to plan, which that's life, right? Things often don't go according to plan, then I'm more patient, more resilient with when things don't go according to plan. And I think that's a great characteristic to have. And then the bonus thing that I want to mention, in the 52 days since I last had alcohol, I've lost 15 pounds. So that's not like the main motivation, even though, you know, a lot of people would be pretty happy with that. I'm happy with that. Feel like I've got a ways to go. I've said on this channel before, like, I'd love to lose 50 pounds. That would be a great place to be. So I'm working toward that. But I'll tell you what, all those empty calories that you get from alcohol, and like with me, it would be like mixed drinks where there's, you know, sometimes there's a lot of sugar in those, or even beer, craft beers, which are even higher calories than just a normal beer. It's been great for me to be able to drop some weight. And honestly, that's part of what keeps me motivated too. It's like when you step on the scale and it's like, yeah, okay, good, we're making progress here. That's a motivator for me. Hey, if this video is hitting home, tap that like button. It tells YouTube that you like this kind of content, and then it helps other people be able to find something like this. And I think I can help a lot of people by sending this kind of message and sharing this type of thing. So thank you. So here's the wild thing that I never expected. Like, quitting alcohol, it didn't remove joy from my life. In fact, I feel like in a lot of ways it's brought more joy to my life. As I think about the improvements that I've seen with just my mental capacity, my sleep improving, the relationship improvements that I've seen, right? The weight loss, like, I can go on and on these different improvements that I've seen in just a short time. So I'm really anxious to see, like, hey, if I go longer, like, how long would that be? I don't know if I'm done with alcohol for good. Probably not, but we'll see. if you're interested in stopping on alcohol, even just for a little while, here's how I would encourage you. I would say make a commitment to a certain time period, like I did. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go 30 days. That was the goal that I set out. And I've almost doubled that. Your goal is your goal. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's a week, a month, whatever, a year. Like, set that goal for yourself and then commit to it. Again, I think the biggest challenge in my mind was just, hey, how is this gonna work with the social situations? And for me personally, that's been way easier in practice than what I had envisioned in my mind. I thought it was gonna be way harder to go to a social situation where there's alcohol and not drink, but really it hasn't been that bad at all. As we wrap up here today, comment below. Tell me about your relationship with alcohol. I hope this has helped you to be able to look at it maybe in a different light than what you have in the past. If you've been feeling a nudge to say, you know what, alcohol's had a pretty strong grip on my life for too long, take this as your sign to give it a shot. Set that goal. I'll be right here in your corner cheering you on. If you got any value out of this video, click on the next one that's popping up on your screen right now. Until next time.